All right, everyone, thanks for clicking on this video. It means a lot to have your support, honestly. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if it's helpful. Today, we're diving into the deep end of social work. We're talking about 15 essential tips for all you new team managers out there, especially those of you leading referral and assessment teams in England. It's a tough gig, no sugarcoating it, but someone's got to do it, right? Now, these tips, they're not pulled out of thin air. They come straight from the front lines. My own experiences and those of my colleagues. We've been there, done that, and got the t-shirt. So, whether you're fresh out of uni or looking to sharpen your skills, stick around and let's get into it. This is about setting you up for success for the sake of the children and families we work with. First things first, let's talk law. Yeah, I know, it's not the most exciting part, but it's the backbone of everything we do. We're talking about protecting children here, and that means understanding the legal framework inside and out. In England, you've got the Children Act 1989 working together to safeguard children and your local authority policies. These aren't just dusty old documents, you know. They set out the rules of the game, tell you what you can and can't do, and most importantly, how to keep kids safe. Trust me, I've seen firsthand what happens when managers don't know the law. It's messy, it's risky, and it can put children at risk. You need to be the expert your team can rely on. So do your homework, read those documents, attend training, and don't be afraid to ask questions. The law is your friend, not your enemy. Right, let's talk shop. You're a manager now, which means you're not just dealing with cases. You're dealing with people. And let me tell you, good communication is absolutely vital. We're talking about building trust, being transparent, and making sure everyone on your team is singing from the same hymn sheet. Regular team meetings, they're not optional. It's a chance to share information, discuss challenges, and support each other. And don't underestimate the power of a good one-on-one. It's a chance to check in with your team members individually, see how they're coping, offer support, and address any concerns. Remember, a problem shared is a problem halved, as they say. So create an open door policy, be approachable, and encourage your team to speak up. Communication is key, my friends. Right, so you're managing a team and you've got to be all over this next bit. We're talking about building solid relationships with other agencies. Think health services, schools, the police, you name it. This isn't just about being chummy, it's about creating a network that actually works for these kids. We've all seen those cases where things slip through the cracks, right? Kids bouncing between services, nobody's quite on the same page. Nightmare, can't be having that. Strong relationships mean smoother referrals, quicker assessments, and a joined-up approach. That's what we want to see. Professionals from different backgrounds coming together, sharing information, and figuring out the best way to support a child and their family. It's about putting the child at the center and making sure everyone's pulling in the same direction. Remember, you're not alone in this. Reach out to these agencies, get to know the people on the ground, and build those relationships. Trust me, when it comes to safeguarding, a strong network can be a real lifeline. Listen, you've got a new social worker starting? Brilliant. Fresh blood, new ideas, always a good thing, but chucking them in at the deep end without a proper induction? Recipe for disaster, that is. First impressions count, yeah? You need a structured induction process that gets these newbies up to speed and feeling confident. Team procedures, expectations, where to find the good biscuits, all that good stuff. And it's not just about paperwork, is it? It's about making them feel welcome, part of the team, introduce them to everyone, make sure they've got a mentor, someone they can go to with questions. A good induction is an investment, right? It sets the tone, shows you're serious about support and development. And that's how you keep good staff, innit? Let's be real, social work's not a walk in the park. It's demanding, it's emotional, and the stakes are high. That's why it's crucial, dead crucial, that everyone on your team knows exactly what's expected of them. We're talking crystal clear expectations about everything: case management, deadlines, quality of assessments, the lot. No room for ambiguity here, people, leaving things open to interpretation. That's how misunderstandings happen, and that can have serious consequences. Regular supervision sessions, team meetings, even just a quick chat in the corridor, use every opportunity to reinforce these expectations. And don't be afraid to give feedback, both positive and constructive. Remember, clear expectations lead to better performance, less stress, and a more effective team overall. It's about setting everyone up for success, isn't it? Right, let's talk about professional development. This isn't just a box to tick, it's about making sure your team is always at the top of their game. We're dealing with vulnerable children here, and that means constantly learning and adapting. Encourage your team to take ownership of their development. Think training courses, workshops, conferences, the lot. And don't forget about keeping up with the latest research and best practices. There's always something new to learn in this line of work. It's not just about ticking boxes, though, is it? It's about investing in your team and showing them you value their development. And let's be real. A team that's learning and growing is a team that's more engaged, more effective, and ultimately better equipped to protect children. Remember, a good manager supports their team's growth. It's about creating a culture of continuous learning, where everyone feels empowered to enhance their skills and knowledge. That's how we make a real difference, you know what I mean? Let's be honest, social work is demanding, isn't it? The caseloads can be heavy and it's easy for things to spiral. That's why managing workloads effectively is absolutely crucial. We need our social workers firing on all cylinders, not burnt out and overwhelmed. Regularly reviewing caseloads is non-negotiable. Are they balanced, manageable? Are there any complex cases that need extra resources or support? These are the questions we need to be asking. Remember, burnout helps no one, least of all the children we're trying to protect. A team that's drowning in work isn't going to be functioning at its best, is it? So, be proactive, be organized, and don't be afraid to have those honest conversations with your team about their workloads. It's about creating a sustainable working environment, plain and simple. Social work, it can be tough, right? We're dealing with challenging situations day in and day out. That's why creating a supportive team culture is so important. We need to look out for each other, be there for each other, because we're all in this together. Encourage peer support. Make it clear that it's okay to ask for help, to lean on each other when things get tough. Because let's face it, we all have those days, don't we? And remember, as a manager, you set the tone. You create the environment. So, be approachable, be empathetic, be that listening ear when your team needs it. A supportive team is a strong team, and a strong team is better equipped to handle the demands of this job. It's about fostering a sense of unity, of shared purpose. That's how we make a real difference in the lives of vulnerable children. Right, so you're leading a team dealing with some heavy stuff day in and day out. It's not just about ticking boxes and closing cases, is it? Reflective supervision, that's where the real magic happens. It's about creating a safe space, a space for your team to really process their experiences, you know? Think of it like this. You're holding up a mirror to their practice. They're seeing their work from different angles, questioning their own assumptions, and ultimately becoming better practitioners because of it. And it's not a one-way street. You're in it with them, offering guidance, sharing your own insights. It's about fostering critical thinking, you see, encouraging your team to challenge the how and the why behind their actions. It's about helping them trust their gut, but also knowing when to pump the brakes and reevaluate. Remember, in this line of work, there are no easy answers. But with reflective supervision, you're giving your team the tools they need to navigate those grey areas. You're building their confidence, their resilience, and ultimately, their ability to make a real difference in the lives of vulnerable children and families. Okay, let's be real. Managing a team is a bit of a juggling act, isn't it? You've got deadlines, caseloads, meetings, emails. It's enough to make your head spin. That's why staying organized and knowing how to prioritize is absolutely crucial. First things first, you need a system. Whether it's a trusty old diary, color-coded spreadsheets, or some fancy app, find what works for you. Keep track of everything. Meetings, deadlines, case reviews, the lot. Because when you're organized, you're in control. Next up, prioritization. Not everything's going to be a five-alarm fire, yeah? Learn to identify what needs immediate attention and what can wait. Is it a new referral that needs assessing? Or is it catching up on paperwork? Remember, you can't do it all and you shouldn't try to. Delegate tasks when you can, trust your team, and don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it, because at the end of the day, a calm and organized manager makes for a more effective team. Listen, being a good manager isn't just about what happens within your team, it's about being your team's biggest champion, their voice in the wider system. You need to be prepared to roll up your sleeves and fight for them, to make sure they've got the resources, the support, and the recognition they deserve. Think of yourself as their union rep, their spokesperson. Whether it's pushing for more training, better IT equipment, or simply acknowledging their hard work, you need to be their voice in the rooms where decisions are made. And let me tell you, it's not always easy. You might face resistance, budget cuts, or plain old bureaucracy, but you've got to be persistent, you've got to be persuasive, and most importantly, you've got to be passionate about fighting for your team. Because when your team feels supported, when they know you've got their back, they can focus on what really matters, providing the best possible care for the children and families they work with. Right, listen up. Being a social work team manager, it's not all about spreadsheets and meetings, yeah? Sometimes you've got to make tough calls. We're talking about kids' lives here, their safety, their futures. You might have to make a decision about removing a child from a difficult home situation. You might need to suspend a team member pending an investigation. These decisions, they're never easy, love. But here's the thing, burying your head in the sand helps no one. You've got the training, the experience, and your team's got your back. Trust your gut. It's usually right. Remember those superhero films where the hero's got to choose between two bad options? It's a bit like that, but your superpower in this situation, being informed, being fair, and being brave enough to make that call. Now, social work, it ain't a static thing, is it? It's changing all the time. New laws, new technologies, new ways of thinking. And we've got to keep up, haven't we? Think of it like your mobile phone, yeah? Remember those chunky Nokias we used to have? We wouldn't get very far with one of those now, would we? Same goes for social work. We've got to embrace the new stuff. That could be anything from using new software to keep track of cases to trying out new therapy techniques for the families we work with. The point is, if we want the best for these kids, we've got to be open to trying new things, and who knows, we might even enjoy it. Right, let's talk boundaries. We all want to be approachable, someone our team feels comfortable coming to. And we absolutely want to build positive relationships with the families we're supporting. And it's a big but, we've got to keep it professional. It's about finding that balance in it, being supportive but not a friend, being empathetic but not overly involved. It's about making sure our personal lives and professional lives don't get all muddled up. Remember those social media guidelines? They're there for a reason. What you post online can blur those lines, and we need to be mindful of that. Think about confidentiality, think about your own safety, and think about how your online presence reflects on your professional role. It might seem like common sense, but it's easy to slip up, especially when you're dealing with intense situations day in and day out. So keep those boundaries firm, yeah? It's about protecting yourself and the people you're there to help. Listen, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Being a social work team manager is tough. It's emotionally demanding, it's high pressure, and you're constantly juggling a million things at once. It's easy to get caught up in it all and forget about yourself. But here's the thing, you can't pour from an empty cup, can you? Looking after your own well-being isn't a luxury, it's essential. If you're burnt out, stressed to the max, you're not going to be much good to anyone, are you? So, what does self-care look like for a busy manager? Well, it's different for everyone. Maybe it's making time for exercise, maybe it's losing yourself in a good book, or maybe it's just having a proper night's sleep without a million case files swirling around your head. The point is, find what works for you and make it a non-negotiable. And don't feel guilty about it. You deserve to switch off, to recharge, to come back fighting fit for yourself and your team. In conclusion, I must say, just because I'm giving you all this information doesn't mean I'm some perfect manager. Honestly, I'm still chasing that perfection myself, though it feels a bit out of reach sometimes. But I do try to live by these points we've talked about. Look, being a new team manager in a children's protection team, it's a real baptism of fire. No doubt about it. But with these tips in your back pocket, you're already on the right track to smashing it and leading your team to success. Remember, leadership's a journey, not a destination. You don't have to have all the answers straight away. You've got a tough job, but it's a vital one. You're making a real difference in the lives of vulnerable children and families. So go out there, give it your all, and don't be afraid to ask for help when you need it. I wish you all the best and continue to do your best.